Don't forget. Okay. Oh, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Um, find your comfortable seat, whatever that is. I've been going back to, for myself, the idea that when we practice yoga, any form of it, whether it's breath, whether it is asana, pranayama, any of it, is that the goal ultimately, or the purpose ultimately, is for us to be able to just sit. And that doesn't just mean physically that we're able to sit in a relatively comfortable way, but it means that we are able to mentally, emotionally be in the moment that we're in with no desire to escape, right? And so I've been using the mantra for myself of don't panic, right? Because this is what our mind is kind of trained to do in the world, is that things happen and our reaction, right? The panic immediately sets in about what that set of circumstances might mean and what we should do. And we're always trying to like get ahead, right? That's what we say. We're always trying to get ahead of whatever's happening, right? And that desire to always wanting to get ahead or to get somewhere or to get away from whatever is here is what keeps us in that state of panic, right? That's my description of it, is that our reactions start to turn into nothing but panic, right? It's always a jump, it's always a leap, it's always a grab. And what we're looking for, that state of peacefulness or equanimity, is one where we can just sit, right? So the suggestion is, or what I've been doing for myself, is that you look for the second breath, right? The first breath is the one, okay, don't panic, right? In the moment that you're reacting. And the second breath is where you start to actually feel yourself slide into whatever else is there, right? You slide back into space, you slide back into the sort of reality that whatever you are afraid is happening may not be what's happening, right? So this is the practice that we have, is that we're always stepping out of, or we're looking for what is beyond that immediate momentary reaction of the mind, so that we can feel everything else, right? And that's my definition of you can just sit, right? So, but the mantra that I've been laughingly using is don't panic, right? Whatever is going on in your mind, don't panic, right? A comfortable seat wherever you are. And again, that comfortable seat may or may not be without issue, right? Or without restriction, may not be that. But the comfort is in our ability to sit and not try to get away from that discomfort, or not try to get away from what's here in front of us because we think that somewhere else is safer, happier, better. So just in the seat that you're in, let your weight drop into your pelvis. So you actually get a little heavy. It might even feel like you're rounding slightly into your lower back. Let that happen for a moment. And feel the breath on the exhale. Really lengthen the exhale. Slow, 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 slow. And then again, inhale fully, full breath. And exhale, slow, slow, slow. Keep it going. To where there's really, you have to actually find more air to exhale. Keep going. And then at the end of that exhale, inhale again. And slow, slow, slow exhale. And continue like that, just another breath or two. When you really get to that very, very, very bottom of the exhale, inhale again. And practicing that idea that we're not trying to run to the next inhale. We actually complete the breath. We actually let ourselves slide through that uncomfortable sensation of things ending, that uncomfortable sensation of emptiness before the inhale comes again. Just keep your exhales long, long, long. Don't worry about counting them. Just focus on that feeling of what it's like to actually control, right? Be aware of the breath as it exhales. You find the bottom. Then the inhale lifts you again naturally. But if we can find this place in us where we're inhaling and we're exhaling, we're rising and we're falling, but our mind is not rising and falling, right? We're not attached to the inhale is where I feel good, the exhale is where I feel less good. And we start to feel where there is that space in between the extremes. Don't panic. A space that is not reaction, but that is real awareness. At the end of that next exhale, get all the way down to the bottom. And then as you inhale, stop controlling the exhales, just let them come back into whatever the natural equilibrium is. But notice the state of your mind. This is what we don't do enough, I think, when we practice, is notice the state of your mind. Don't talk to it, just notice it. It's like looking outside and noticing the weather. Oh, okay. It's the state of the sky today. State of the sky this moment. And then don't hold that state as anything. Don't hold it there. Just notice. Often just by noticing is we immediately change the state that is there because now we're noticing. Space comes in because we noticed. Awareness comes in because we noticed. And that's all we're doing. So whatever the state of your mind, bring the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm, rub your palms. Good, and then steady the hands at the heart, pressing the tips of the fingers together, the heels of the hands together, and drawing the elbows wide. As the elbows draw wide, your sternum can lift a little taller, crown of your head can lift a little taller. And we'll open with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. And let the eyes float open. Nice, you guys. So come forward, please, onto hands and knees. And come into a child's pose, knees nice and wide, big toes together to touch. Good, maybe let your hands separate a little bit wider in front of you. And spread your toes a little bit. And press into the shins, squeeze the knees towards each other. So you're giving a little activity to the legs as you squeeze in. It's that sensation of like you're hugging your hips or someone squeezing your outer hips, squeeze in. And then pressing your hands, your fingertips into the floor. You can lift your wrists up if you'd like, but round your back as though you're coming into a cat position. So you're still in child's pose, but round your back. So press into your fingertips. Feel that lift through your rib cage, expanding through the middle back, lower back. Again, little squeeze of the legs is great. And then you're drawing those sit bones down and back towards your hips or towards your heels, sorry. But keep that roundedness in your back and squeeze the legs. Good. One more breath like that, pressing into the fingers, squeezing the knees. And then as you exhale, release all that squeeze, let your chest get wide, drop into the forward fold again. Good. Then walk yourself towards your right belly over the right thigh. Good. Moving the rib cage, moving the whole torso. Good. And then just for a breath, same thing, is just squeeze those knees just a little bit round into your back. Good. So you get a little bit more fullness through the lower spine, pressing into the fingertips. Nice. One more breath, squeeze. And then release the squeeze and start to let yourself again drop into or soften back into what feels like the relaxation. Good. Then walk yourself back to center. Move yourself to the left, belly over the left thigh. Nice. And then the same thing, pressing into your fingertips, round into your back. So give a little squeeze to your knees. Good. Pull up through the low belly. I know it's going to be a little awkward because you're in a side stretch, but I want you to still feel that rounding into your spine. Good. And then go ahead and release the squeeze, relax the knees, just soften again into that side stretch. Good. And then walk yourself all the way back to center. And walk your hands back up so you can come back to hands and knees. And find your way into a downward facing dog. Tuck your toes, lift your hips. You can pedal the feet a little bit if you'd like. Let the hips sway from side to side. Make sure your feet have space between them. So if the tendency is for you to have your feet really close together, remember that if you were standing, I would suggest your feet are 1 to 2 fist distance apart. So your feet are on the floor, separate your feet at least 1 to 2 fist distance apart. Good. And then start to walk your feet forward towards your hands. Nice. Come to the standing forward fold. Good. Take your hands to the back of your calves, bend your knees a little bit. So it's like your belly's dropping onto your thighs and you're pressing your hands up and into that calf muscle, so the back of your shins. Good. So you want your shins to move slightly forward. So bring your weight forward towards the balls of your feet and then press into your heels. And then you can press into the calves and pull up like you're trying to actually move that muscle up towards your hips. Good. Keep your head dropped. And then scoop your belly just a little bit more. Yeah. Then bend your knees a lot like you're dropping back into chair. Good. And then stretch the arms up alongside your ears, keeping that feeling of openness in your lower back. So keep your ribs drawing in and then lift the chest, lift the chest, lift the chest. Good. And then bring the hands to the tops of the thighs, please. Cat-cow in your chair pose. Inhaling, lifting, opening the chest, exhaling, curling back into that lower rib cage, lower back. Good. And keep going. Try and keep your hips dropped nice and low. Try to keep that feeling again of the calf muscles still engaged. So you're not just doing all the work in the upper legs, but you're doing the work in the lower legs as well. Good. That stabilizing energy. Call it apana, the downward flow, right? When everything is moving downward into solid, moving downward into the heavier vibration or the more grounded vibration. And sometimes we think like, that's going to be terrible because that's going to, depress me, or it's going to be negative, or it's going to be whatever we think it's going to be. Don't panic. It's also what brings you out of that state of untethered or out of that state of unawareness, right? It can bring you back into awareness. Come to stillness with the spine, please. Stretch the arms up alongside the ears. Good. And then come all the way back up to stand, pressing through the feet. Nice. Take your right hand to your left wrist, or hold your left wrist with your right hand. Lean to your right side body stretch. Good. And pressing into both feet equally. So you're still leaning to the right, but now I want you to actually take your hands towards that upper right-hand corner of your mat. So more on the diagonal, and round into your rib cage. So curl into your upper back, upper shoulders, lean towards that upper right-hand corner of your mat. Good. And draw the top of your right hip back in space as you're doing that. So don't let the pelvis twist. So mark right hip moves back. Yeah, you got it. Nice. Good. And then start to, with that same roundedness, start to open the armpit a little bit more again. So you're looking up underneath that left armpit, but you're trying to keep that rounded feeling in your back. Don't let that right hip spin forward. Good. And then come all the way back up to center, please. Good. Bend the knees, drop back into chair pose. Good. Take your hands back behind you, interlace your fingers at the low spine. Good. Then again, try and round into your back just a little bit more. Shrug your shoulders up towards your ears. Beautiful. And then really stretch the arms, reaching in that direction of your tail. So you're drawing down through the arms, but pulling up through your armpits. Drop your hips a little lower, lift your chest a little higher. Good. Yep. So it's like you're trying to go for vertical. Nice, Nancy. Awesome, you guys. And then go ahead, start to straighten the legs, take your hips nice and high, drop your head, stretch the arms up and over any amount if you'd like, or again, you can keep the elbows bent here and just really work that feeling of widening through your armpits. So it's not even squeezing the shoulder blades, it's widening the armpits, draw the armpits back. Good. And then release the hands down to the floor, please. Right hand to outer left ankle, left hand to the sky or to your lower back. Again, if reaching the arm up just feels like it's a pull on the shoulder or the neck, keep the hand at the lower back. And instead work from that armpit where you feel like you're opening the chest wider. Good. Keep your right hip lifted and wide. Awesome. Release and switch, please. Take the left hand to the outer right ankle. Right arm either comes up to the sky or hand to your lower back. Good. Either way, you still want to have this openness through the armpit. So draw that right thumb towards the top of your head a little bit more so you make more space for that lower arm. Good. And then again, right shoulder lifts higher, right side chest opens more. That's it. Nice, Harriet. Good, Andy. Good, Laura. And then release that hand to the floor. Nice job. Bend your knees, please. Roll up the spine one vertebra at a time. So keep your head dropped and focus on, again, there's my tail anchoring down. There's my sacrum stacking up. There's my rib cage stacking up. There's my shoulders stacking up. There's my neck stacking up. And then notice at what point you stop stacking and you just go back to, I pop my pelvis forward, I push my ribs forward, I pop my head forward. Let the head slide back, let the ribs soften, let your pelvis drop. Good. Arms to the sky. Nice. Left hand holds right wrist, please. Lean to your left. Good. Again, watching already that left hip doesn't spin forward. Draw it back. Nice. And then take it onto the diagonal. So round into your upper rib cage and reach to the upper left-hand corner of your mat. Good. So again, the back of your ribs, lower spine should feel like it's getting a lot of fullness. Beautiful. And then stay just as full if you can and start to open the ribs a little wider, looking up underneath the right armpit. So it's like you're opening again wide through the armpits, wide through the chest, but you're not pushing the hips forward. So take that outer left hip, spin it back. Good. You got it. That's it, Mark. And then come all the way back up to center, please. Nice, you guys. Bend the knees again. Take your hips back and down, chair pose. Good. And then bring the hands together at the heart center, please. Prayer twist, right elbow to the outside of your left knee. And if hooking the elbow at this point does not feel like it's possible, bring the right hand to your left knee and bring your left hand to your lower back. Good. Keep those inner knees just a little wide. Feel as though you are pulling those calf muscles up as you press down through your heels. Good. Come back to center, please. Don't change the chair. Twist to the other side. Left elbow to outside of the right knee. Good. Again, don't let the knees slide away from each other. Try to keep that feeling of calf muscles lifting. Press down through the heels. Drop your seat. Good. Come back to center, please. Stretch the arms up alongside your ears. Deep breath in because you've forgotten. And then exhale, hands to the floor, straighten your legs and bow. Nice job. Good. Step your right leg back just enough so that both legs can come to straight Parsvottanasana. So left leg forward, right leg back. Use blocks underneath the hands if you need. Good. Squeezing the feet towards each other. Send that outer right hip spinning forward. Left low belly lifts up and wide. Beautiful. Catching yourself in the reaction or catching yourself in that reactive mode. First step, right? Become aware. So we say that all the time, that what we're looking for is for awareness, but then on a day-to-day basis, as we do everything we can to kind of not pay attention to what's going on up there, what's going on in there. Or we do it just enough to be like, okay, it's my usual amount of crazy that I run away from. It's my usual amount of things that I run away from. So awareness is that state where we're not running. Whatever is there, and it might be terrifying. It might not be. It is whatever it is. But to be in the state of awareness is not trying to change it. It's just sitting, not running away. And if we can get past that first breath where we're panicking about whatever is in there or whatever is going on, we slide into that awareness and then we're able to actually perceive, right? If there is the need to change, there is the need to move, where is that movement already going? Where can I take it? Where is my breath leading me? Not where is my mind insisting that I go, but where is my breath leading me? Where is my awareness the most present, most open? Good, you guys. Take your hands to your hips, please. Come all the way up to stand. Good. Don't change the legs. Take your hands back behind you. Interlace your fingers at the low spine. Again, you got to have that squeeze of your feet here. So you're squeezing your feet towards each other. Draw the top of that left hip up and back. So already you're sending your pelvis a little bit more towards square. And I want you to feel like there's a little bit of a soft bend behind that front knee. So you're not locking the legs back, but you have this feeling of my shins are moving forward and my heels are pressing down. So get nice and tall. Draw those arms long behind you so you can start to straighten the arms any amount, but pull the armpits up. And then from your waist, start to bow forward over the front thigh. Take the arms up and over if you'd like, or keep them at the low back. Good. The idea though is to continue to reach through your lower spine, reach through your pelvis without locking your knees. So you have to keep that feeling of I'm squeezing my feet so I don't feel like I'm going to fall, but my shins are moving forward as the tops of my thighs pull back. My armpits are moving forward. Yeah, as I draw my arms back. Beautiful. One more breath, dropping the forehead any amount more towards that front shin. Excellent. And then release the hands down to the floor. Good. Walk your fingertips forward, bend that left knee, step up into standing split. Right thigh comes parallel to the floor. Good. And using blocks if you need. Bend that standing knee. So as you bend the knee, again, you let the shin come forward, find your heel. So as that knee bends, your weight's going to fall forward. So move the weight of your hips back so that your hip is centered on that heel. Knee is still bent, so your glutes got to do a little bit of work. And then scoop into your belly again. Start to press the sacrum up towards the sky as you press down into that heel. Good. And then hands again touching something if you need. Start to stack that right hip on top of your left. So turn the hip open, turn the toes open. Good, like you're coming into Ardha Chandrasana, stack that hip. And then careful that your foot doesn't come so far back behind you that you're now swinging your pelvis out of alignment. So keep your left butt cheek drawing in towards the middle. Good, and then if you'd like, right arm again can come to the sky, open the chest as well, full Ardha Chandrasana. That hand can stay at your hip if that makes more sense. Beautiful. Good. So you're pressing up through that outer right hip and thigh. Beautiful. And then to be just even more annoying, bring that right hand back down to the floor, scoop your belly, turn the right toes back down to standing split. Yep. Good. And then step all the way back to a nice long lunge, please. Plant the hands downward facing dog. Good. Good job. Don't panic. Slide forward to plank pose, upward push up. Whatever happened or didn't happen, don't panic. Lower down slow, coming through knees first if you need. Good. Rise up cobra, lift head, neck, and chest, pointing the toes back behind you. Beautiful. And then release, please, downward facing dog. Lift the hips high to the sky. Let the heels soften towards the floor. And then again, in your down dog, give a soft bend to your knees so that you can feel a little bit more of sensation, maybe going into your back instead of the back of your legs. And then really try and feel for a moment with your knees bent, a little bit of a press of your heels towards the floor. So it's not an aggressive press, but with your knees bent, can you stretch the ankles? Good. And then with your knees bent, can you lift your hips a little higher towards the sky? Nice. And now can you start to take your thighs back any amount so the knees feel a little bit more straight, but you're not locking. And you can feel that sensation that there's really easy flow of energy through your whole legs, maybe even through your lower back. Good. Nice job. Walk your feet forward towards your hands. If you're like, I don't know, this felt like the same down dog I always do. No problem. Good. Bend the knees, please. Drop your hips. Take the arms up alongside your ears. Chair pose, Utkatasana. Good. And again, letting your weight of your hips slide slightly backwards. So the weight comes more towards the heels. Good. And you want to feel that sensation of the calf muscles hugging onto the bone. Hands to heart center. Prayer twist. Left elbow to the outside of the right knee. I know I'm doing it a different way every time. Your mind will not get used to it. That's the point. Come back to center, please. Twist the other way. Right elbow to the outside of the left knee. Good. Watch that your knees stay in line with each other. Good. Come back to center, please. Arms up alongside your ears. Notice if your knees have come away from the position, your hips have come away from the position that you started in. The answer is yes, that's okay. Hands to the floor, straighten the legs and bow. Right? The point is the answer doesn't matter. The yes or no doesn't matter. The awareness is what matters. Step your left leg back behind you just enough. Both legs come to straight. Parsvottanasana, right? This is the funny thing, is that we think that there's so much meaning in all of the reactions that are happening. And of course there are. We have a tremendous amount of meaning in everything that we feel. And at the same time, that meaning is not fixed, right? The moment is simply the moment. And if we try and hold it static, then in that reaction is we don't allow it to actually complete. We don't allow it to be what it actually is, because we're so sure that our reaction is all that there is, or all that matters. So awareness is that state that is just beyond that, that says, okay, that reaction is there, and so is all of this, whatever else all of this is. So to be in that state where you're not running to, not running from, call that awareness. So that's the game that we play, is the answer that you come up with a yes or a no, a good or a bad in your mind, what's going on. But can you just be aware? Like, oh, my knee slid out of alignment. Doing that thing with my hip again. And then absolutely we can adjust, but we do it not from a standpoint of I have to escape, or that something is wrong. I've already judged it. You're just aware. So squeeze those feet towards each other. Draw that outer right hip back and in. Good. And then with those stable legs, take your hands to your hips, come all the way up to stand. Good. And then again, you're noticing if your pelvis is not quite with the hip points in the same line as each other, don't worry, because that's true for all of you, just about, is draw the top of that right thigh back, draw that left hip slightly forward. It's so funny. This is the tighter side for like all of you, it looks like. Take your hands back behind you. Good. So again, you're trying to maintain this alignment with the legs where you feel that you're not locking the knees back. So you have that slight feeling of the shins coming forward, pressing into the heels, shrug those shoulders up, armpits up. Good. And then you can stretch the arms to straight any amount. Keep this length on your spine. Start to bow forward from your waist. So draw the tops of the thighs up and back, draw the hips back and bow forward. Watch for that moment where the right side, rib cage, right side, belly, right side, everything is going to start to fall inward. So it's got to stay lifted and wide. Good. And then you've got to move your shoulders slightly to the left, because in order to correct that dipping, you've turned your whole torso. So move it slightly to the left. Good. And then say, that doesn't feel like balance. That doesn't feel like equal. It's all right. Your mind doesn't know what equal feels like. Good. Keep squeezing those feet together. Softness behind the knees. Thighs move wide. Feet squeeze together. Good. Release the hands down to the floor, please. Nice job, you guys. Bend that right knee. Walk your fingertips forward. Step up to standing split. Good. So the left leg is parallel to the floor. Toes pointing down. So again, bend that standing knee. And as you do, you can level your pelvis again. You can let that left hip go a little wider as your right low belly lifts up higher. Again, it's going to challenge tightness on that right outer hip and thigh. That's okay. Good. So find that feeling of, again, your shin moves forward, but the weight of your hips goes slightly back. And then start to straighten the leg again by pulling up from the top of the thigh, pulling up from your sacrum. Good. And then again, use blocks if you need. Start to turn that left hip on top of the right. As you do, don't let that right hip spin forward. Don't let your right knee angle forward. You got to keep it in the same alignment that it is. So the lifting and opening comes from the left hip. Good. So there's a lifting through the standing leg. So you're opening to Ardha Chandrasana, any version. And then that left arm can come to the sky if you'd like, opening the chest as well, or keep the hand at the hip. Good. Knee can be bent if you're stacking the hip and just working there. Excellent. Really good, Mark. Nice, Andy. Good, Harry. Good, Laura. Nice, Nancy. Beautiful, you guys. And then scooping into your belly, release that left hand back down towards the floor. Turn your left toes down again, back to standing split. So I really want you to get that feeling of lifting up and rotating in your pelvis, rotating from those big outer hip muscles. Good job. Step back all the way to lunge, please, and then come back downward facing dog. So the back foot finds the floor, hands find the floor. Downward dog. Good. Make sure your feet are not super close together. Give yourself a little space. Good. And then take your right hand maybe slightly closer to the center underneath your gaze, and then take your left hand back underneath you. Reach for your right ankle or shin. So a twisting down dog. Good. Nice. Looking up underneath that right armpit. Keeping the tops of your thighs back. Don't lock your knees. So maybe a soft bend to the knees so that you keep the sensation really more in the lower back. And then release and switch, please. Plant that left hand, again, maybe a little bit more center in front of you. And then right arm reaches back for left ankle or shin. Good. Keep pressing into that left hand. So again, you're not dropping all of your weight forward into the shoulder, but you have that feeling of pressing into the hand to draw the shoulder up and lift that sternum still towards your fingertips. You're still lengthening your spine here, even though you're twisting. Good. And then release both hands, find the floor, please. Nice job. Right leg comes up and back behind you, down dog split. Good. Step that foot forward between the hands, lunge. Back heel comes flat, baby toe parallels back of your mat. Warrior two, cartwheel the arms up over the shoulders. Good. Watch that front knee is pointing towards second or third toe. So angle your knee towards that second or third toe and let your pelvis shift so that your knee is in the alignment that you'd like it to be. Probably means that your hips are not going to be quite as sideways as you think they should be. Don't panic. Good. Nice, you guys. Take the right forearm onto the front thigh, left arm comes over the ear, side angle. Nice. Keep drawing that inner right knee slightly wide. So it's going to move the sit bones. It's going to change the angle on that left hip, no problem. And then you find as much length on that left leg as possible. So press through the baby toe, feel the top of that thigh moving slightly back in space. Good. Keeping that left arm over the ear, take the right arm up as well. So both arms reaching towards the top of your mat. Nice. Then left arm stays where it is. Take the right arm reaching straight in front of your chest. So crisscross the arms, then twist yourself open a little deeper. Excellent. Good. And then release that right hand down to the floor, left hand to your left hip. Slide that right hand forward, Ardha Chandrasana. So again, use a block if you need. Shift your weight onto that right leg. Pay attention to how you are stacking that right hip on top of your heel before you throw that left leg up in the air. Set the standing leg. Good. So Nancy, it looks like you got to take that hand further forward. You don't have enough space to actually set your balance. There you go. Nice, you guys. Arm can come to the sky if you'd like, or keep it where it is. Beautiful. If you want to bend that left knee, kick your heel and reach back for the ankle, go for that. Otherwise, take another breath where you are. Good. Beautiful. And then extend all the way back out. If you're holding that foot, step all the way back to warrior two, please. So plant that foot, take the arms back up. So again, the concept that you are coming out of the pose and landing somewhere. You're not just falling out of the moment into nothing. Left hand down the back thigh, right palm spins up and back, reverse warrior. Good. Keep that right arm reaching back. Take your left hand up off of your thigh. Hold that right wrist. And then give yourself just a little bit more length on that arm, that side body, and take the top of your right thigh, root it down. So it's like you're taking the lunge into a little bit of a deeper opening. Beautiful. And then come all the way back up, please. Pause in that upright position, arms wide, deep breath in. And then as you exhale, again, cartwheel the hands down to the floor. Step back, downward facing dog. Again, that concept, complete the pose. Don't just run to the next thing. Good. Vinyasa if you'd like, child's pose if you prefer. If you're doing the vinyasa, you're coming forward to plank, lowering down slow to your belly, rising up into cobra. Good. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Do you remember when I never used to give you a choice? It was just vinyasa, vinyasa, vinyasa. Remember that? I remember that. Good. Left leg comes up and back, down dog split. Step the foot forward between the hands, lunge. Good. Back heel comes flat, baby toe parallels back of your mat, come into warrior two. So I laugh and say, of course, that I remember, teaching that way or being that way in my own practice and thinking that that was going to get me somewhere, right? A lot of vinyasa. And it will. It'll get you really great, toned glutes and a whole bunch of other things, but doesn't necessarily make you less panicky. Left forearm onto front thigh, please. Right arm over the ear, side angle. Again, watching that front knee that you are moving it slightly wide, drawing the hip back and in. Good. So side angle mark. So forearm onto the thigh. There you go. Good. Yeah, watch that the ribs are not popping forward. So take everything from the front, slide it back. And then keep that right arm where it is. Take the left arm up underneath you as well. So both arms extending towards the top of your mat first, framing the ears. That's it. And now swing that left arm forward towards the center of your chest and rotate a little bit more. So you're actually pulling forward through those fingertips. So your shoulders actually twist, your ribs actually twist. Good. Nice job. And then bring that left hand down to the floor, please. Right hand to your right hip. Gaze down towards the floor. Slide that left hand forward. Again, set yourself up in Ardha Chandrasana, that you are stacking your hip on top of your heel. So before that back foot leaves the floor, send your weight forward onto that left leg. Good. And make sure that you have enough space between your supporting hand and your standing leg. If you don't give yourself enough space, the balance becomes much more difficult to find. Same thing in your mind. If there's not enough awareness, it becomes very difficult to find balance because all you have are the parameters of whatever your reaction is. Good. If you're going for that bent knee variation, bend the knee, kick your heel back, reach for the ankle, go for it. Or just stay where you are and keep finding the breath as it comes in, and keep your exhales completing themselves. Don't forget to let the breath go. Good. Really nice, Laura. Good, Harriet. Nice, everybody. Release the foot if you're holding it, please. And then step yourself all the way back to warrior two. So again, you're coming out of the pose purposeful, planting that back foot. Good. Taking the arms back up and wide. Nice. Resetting the knee. And then right hand down the back thigh, left palm spins up and back, reverse warrior. And again, your legs are holding you. So as that left arm keeps reaching back, take your right hand up to hold your left wrist. Good. And then again, you're giving that little extra length on the arm as you drop that left thigh a little deeper. So you're actually letting your pelvis drop into the lunge. Beautiful. Really making space, side body, upper and lower. And then come all the way back up. Please pause with the arms wide. Find a full inhale there. You're back to warrior two. And then exhale, cartwheel the hands down to the floor. Good. Spin your back heel up. Step back, downward facing dog. Nice job. Slide forward, plank pose, upward push up. Good. Lower down slow to your belly. Good. Rise up, cobra, lift head, neck, and chest. Nice. And then exhale back to your belly, please. Bend your knees, kick your heels in towards your butt. Good. Root down through the tops of the knees. So not necessarily pushing the tops of the thighs down, but push down through the tops of the knees. And then as you press down into your hands, rise up, cobra again with bent knees, lifting head, neck, and chest, with the feeling that you are drawing your tops of your pelvic bones, your thighs, forward and up. Good. Nice. Collarbones wide. One more breath, lifting back of the throat. Nice, Andy. Good, Nancy. And then slowly release, please. Good. Let the feet go. Press back up to hands and knees. And come back to child's pose. Knees wide, big toes together to touch. Good. Take one more breath there. Again, maybe squeezing the knees if you'd like, so you drop your seat a little deeper. And then start to walk yourself back up, please, coming to a kneeling position. So if you need a blanket underneath your knees for camel, make sure you have that. If you want a block between your thighs for camel, make sure you have that. If you want blocks underneath your hands for camel, make sure you have those. If you yourself would like a pet camel, I can't help you. You gotta figure that one out yourself. Good. So taking the hands to the lower back, please. Toes can be tucked under or not, your choice. But with the hands flat on the sacrum, feel again that you are pressing your sacrum back into your hands. So the natural reaction, because we know we're going into a back bend, is to push the hips forward, shorten the lower spine. Do the opposite. Push your butt backwards. Feel that the tops of your thigh creases get softer. Good. Try to maintain that. Lift your armpits up, get taller, and start to lean back. Again, it's a hinge, so you're bringing everything back, thighs back, butt back. Everything goes backwards first. Then lift your collarbones straight up towards the sky. Good. Keep the tops of those thighs still spinning back. Good. But your hip points are going to lift. And then let the hands drop down. Find the ankles if you'd like, or again, blocks underneath the hands. And if your hands feel better at your lower back, keep them there. Good. One more breath. Press the sacrum into the hands. Lift the hip points. Lift the collarbones. Good. And then navel to spine, come all the way back up, pressing down into your shins. Excellent. Nice, you guys. So go ahead, drop the hips back to your heels, please. Move the block if you've got it. Good. Drop the forehead to the floor. Take your hands back behind you. You can either hold your ankles here if that is where you want to be, or you can take the hands back behind you, interlacing the fingers. So your choice. Hands interlace at the low back or hold your ankles. Either way, roll up onto the top of your head, please, lifting the hips up off of the heels, round your back a lot. And if you have your hands clasped, you can stretch the arms up and over. If you are holding your ankles, just continue to hold your ankles. Good. Nice. And then slowly release the hips back down to the floor, release the hands, come all the way back up. Good. Come to sit, please, on your butt. Nice. And bring the bottoms of the feet together, please. Knees wide, Baddha Konasana. Good. If you need a blanket underneath your seat, feel free to have that. Good. And the purpose of the blanket, of course, is to make a little bit of extra space for your pelvis to be in a more upright position. So it's not just if you're like, I feel like my butt's a little too bony and I need some cushioning. That's fine too. But we usually say use the blanket underneath the sit bone so that you get a little bit more vertical in your pelvis. There you go. So you don't want to be sitting back on the blanket. You want to be sitting slightly forward. Good. All right. Walk the arms forward, please. Take your forward fold. Chest coming between the thighs. And then find in your forward fold where you can, again, press into the baby toe edges of your feet. Feel your knees squeezing up towards your side ribs. So use those inner thigh muscles, squeeze the knees up and pull your groins down. So it's not just a squeeze, but it's a squeeze and it's a drop through your pelvis. So you squeeze your knees up towards your armpits, push down through your seat, and then see if that gives you maybe a little bit more access to leaning forward or tilting your pelvis forward. Good. It might not. And if it doesn't, don't panic. Good. One more breath with the squeeze of the knees, really lengthening the spine. And then as you exhale, let the knees go, drop into the forward fold, maybe a little bit deeper, because now you're in the sensation of dropping, not trying to get somewhere, but just releasing the effort. Good. And then walk yourself slowly all the way back up, maybe even rounding into your lower back as you come up. Beautiful. And then stretch the right leg straight out in front of you, please. Bring the left knee up to face the ceiling and then squeeze that knee in towards your chest. Good. And then turn the shin, please, so parallel. So turn the shin parallel to your chest. So reach for the foot with your right hand. So like the baby cradle, right? So you're holding your foot with your right hand, knee in your left hand. So like a seated pigeon pose. You got it. Good. And again, sitting towards the front edge of your sit bones, move that knee side to side. Do a little circling of the hip if you'd like. Good. Again, keeping the foot flexed. So again, you have activity in your shin and you're trying to make a nice neutral line with your ankle. So for most of us, that means that baby toe edge of the foot has to kind of pull backwards a little bit more so that you get equal stretch on inside, outside ankle. Good. Nice, you guys. And then come to stillness, lifting the chest up, lifting the shin up, and then take your, what hand is that? Left hand to your left foot. So elbow inside the knee. So just hand that foot into your left hand. Move the knee nice and far back towards your armpit. So nice and wide. And then start to straighten that leg out wide to the side. Right arm can come out to the right, or you can keep fingertips on the floor for balance, but make sure you are leaning forward towards that front edge of your sit bone. So again, you're trying to maintain that vertical pelvis. Good. And then relax your shoulders. There you go. Excellent. Nice, Nancy. A smile is great here. Good. One more breath. Bend the knee again. So as you bend your knee, push your foot into your hand. So don't put it down, but you're still up there, leaning forward through the pelvis, pressing the foot into the hand. So you have, again, resistance. Good. And then maintain that feeling of resistance. Start to straighten the leg one more time, pressing down through your seat as you do. So again, the idea is I am anchoring myself, that apana energy. I'm grounding down. Good. Nice, nice, nice. And then bend the knee again, please. Take it forward, back in towards your chest. Hug. Good. And then extend that leg down towards the floor. Excellent. Let's do the second side. Bend the right knee. Right knee bends. Good. And then reach for the foot with your left hand. So turn the shin parallel. Good. Flexing the foot, trying to find again an equal ankle. So almost always the big toe is kind of curling in or sickling in. So you want to pull the baby toe wider in order to find that ankle position. Good. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, just do your best. Good. Let the knee move away from the belly. So you're really getting that angle again, almost as though you were doing pigeon sitting up, as you're allowing the knee to go wider. You're allowing the knee to move away from the belly. So you change the angle of the shin. Good. Nice. And then start to slow it down, bring it back to stillness, please. And then hand that foot into your right hand. So the right hand holds the baby toe edge of your foot. Knee goes nice and wide. So again, you got to use the muscular energy of that leg to pull back. You're not just using your arm to do it, as you're moving the knee back by its own power. Leaning slightly forward, start to extend that right leg out wide to the right. Left arm can extend out to the left. And again, if your leg is not 100% locked straight, perfect. Right? Let it go to the point where you feel like you are extending again from the power of your leg and not just pushing into the limit of your arm. Good. Really nice. Root that right butt cheek down to the floor. Awesome. And then bend the knee again, please. Keep the foot up though. Press the foot into your hands. So you're just drawing that knee in towards the armpit, pressing the foot outward as though you were going to straighten it. So you're keeping that resistance. Drop that right sit bone down again. Get as long through your lower back as you can. So again, slightly lean forward. And then start to press that leg back out towards straight. Good. And again, with the resistance, right, that you are pressing out, but you're trying to find the strength of the leg, not the limit of the arm. Good. Beautiful. And then bend the knee again, please. Bring it all the way back in towards your chest. Hooray. And then stretch that leg straight forward in front of you. Good. So both legs together, flex your feet. Take your hands alongside your hips, please, pressing down into the hands. This is Dandasana, so simple, but straight legs, feet together, press down through the hands right alongside your hips, lift through your side waist, press into your seat, armpits go wide, so that's that little bit of a squeeze between the shoulder blades, long throat. So Dandasana is where we squeeze everything. So push into your hands, press into your seat, flex your feet, press your heels down. So you're lengthening the legs, you're lengthening your spine, belly's in, ribs are in, chest is up, long throat, chin level. Close your eyes, go in. Keep everything engaged. Keep pushing down. Even if your hands can't come flat, push into your fingertips. Good. Try not to push the chest forward, ribs in, get longer. Pull through the crown of your head. Press down through your seat, long legs. Draw the lines of yourself so infinitely long in every direction. And this is the idea as you become completely engaged, completely aware. Good. Still breathing. Don't hold the breath. And then release everything. Let all the squeezing go. Nice job. And then just let yourself walk forward. So you let your feet relax, walk yourself forward into a forward fold, let your back round. So you could call this a lazy forward fold or a yin style forward fold, where again, it's not about I'm trying to get somewhere. But as if I let myself hang forward, this is where I can find release. And this is awareness, right? I have my reaction that insists that I try and get somewhere. And if I slide into awareness, there's the opportunity for something to release. Whatever energy is wrapped up and held in that reaction can disperse. Good. Slowly bring yourself all the way back up. Nice job. Excellent. All right, opportunity to go upside down in whatever way you most want to. So shoulder stand is a great suggestion after a lot of what we've just done. Also very, I think, grounding because it's closer to the ground. But any inversion you'd like, headstand, handstand, shoulder stand. Legs straight up to the sky. Just for a couple of breaths. because the inverting is another way of helping to come to a state of calm in the mind, state of clarity. And they're like, I've been hearing that word a lot, clarity, and to, again, take it out of that sense that clarity always means that you know what's right or wrong. It doesn't mean that. It means that you feel clearly or that you see clearly. So if you can see something as what it is, instead of what you're afraid that it is or that it isn't, you become more clear on your relationship to it. And your relationship then informs you of, here's the way to interact, the spacious way, the harmonious way. This is what I need to do, or what I don't need to do. If you want to come into plow, if you're in shoulder stand, bringing the toes to the floor above the top of the head, go for that. And if you're in plow and your feet are pretty comfortably reaching the floor or close to it, you can separate your feet a little wider, then bend your knees so they start to drop alongside your ears any amount. And again, it does not have to touch the floor. It's again, just getting into openness of the lower spine. If at any point that feels like strain on the neck or like you can't comfortably breathe, then change your position. Just funny, because if we said at any point, if your mind causes you to feel like you can't breathe, change your position, right? The question is, are we even aware of what the mind is doing, or if we are breathing? That's the practice, right? Become aware. Start to bring the legs back towards straight if they're not already. And find your way back up to shoulder stand if you've been in plow. If you're somewhere else, stay where you are. Give a little hug of your upper arms here if you're in shoulder stand, pressing down so you get just a little bit more lift through your spine, like you're hugging the back muscles in and up. Pull long. Good. And then slowly start to roll out of your pose, one vertebra at a time. As your hips come low, bend your knees in towards your chest. Keep the navel engaged the whole time. Good. If you've been in shoulder stand, let your feet come to the floor. If you are somewhere else, find your way back down. Take a moment if you need in whatever position allows you to settle. And find your way onto your back if that's not where you are. And then start to stretch the legs out to straight, everybody. Arms alongside you. You can either keep the arms straight, palms down, and slide those arms alongside your ribs, hands under your butt for fish pose. Or you can have your arms in robot arms for fish. So the elbows alongside your ribs, fingers pointing up towards the sky, your choice. Take the legs together again. Flex or point the toes, your choice again. Keep your butt rooted to the floor and start to, again, hug those back muscles onto the center of the back or towards the center of the spine. Lift your chest up, 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 squeezing and curling in to bring the top of the head to the floor. So you want to feel like almost like if you were scrunching your fingers on something. That's what your back is doing in fish, is it's squeezing in and up, suctioning up. Press through your seat. Again, that downward energy is what gives you the lift. Push into your seat, compress into the arms, elbows bend if you have your hands underneath you. One more breath from your side ribs, lift higher. Nice, Harriet, good, nice, Mark. And then slowly release, again, one vertebra at a time. Excellent, let the arms go from underneath you. Good. And then if you'd like a final spinal twist here, you can bring your knees in towards your chest. And a twist of your choice. So the knees can be together or wrapping the legs, whatever you'd like. You can scoot the hips over to the left and drop the knees to the right. Might also feel good if you just want to plant your feet and windshield wiper the knees from side to side. That's another option. And then if you're twisting, make sure you come back to center, do the other side. Go the other way. And bring yourself back to center. As you're ready, squeeze the knees up and towards your chest. Bring your forehead up to meet your knees. Squeeze. And exhaling all the breath out as you squeeze. Exhale, 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 exhale. Good. And then release the pose. Let the inhale come back. It's taking the legs out in front of you, arms alongside you. Find your position for Shavasana. Again, the position that you can come into where you commit to just stay. Right? We forget that this is what Shavasana is that it's the opportunity to just stay and actually feel what's here. State of awareness, not trying to run to anything, run from anything. Long breaths. Very gently bring the awareness back to the breath, letting the body begin to stretch, move, whatever ways serve it well. And as you're ready, draw your knees in towards your chest. Roll to your right side. Take a moment before you begin to push the floor away. Come back to an upright seated position. Letting the hands rest either on the knees or the thighs, palms up or down. Don't rush to that hands to heart center. I know, it's the automatic, right? Automatic reaction. I get up from Shavasana, I put my hands here. But remember that the purpose of this practice is to be able to just sit, to not run to the next thing. And so we say to gently bring the mind back, bring the awareness back. Because if we are always trying to pull it away from something and put it somewhere else, is we're just creating that same cycle in our mind of never being in that state of awareness. We're always running to, running from. So even if where you think you're running to is great, you're still running. So you come up from Shavasana with that same state of settled, that same state of simply aware, simply receiving what the moment is. And when the mind wants to react and turn it into something else, you say, don't panic. Give yourself a breath, 2 breaths, 3 breaths, 1,000 breaths to feel what else there is beyond that reaction. Then move where your breath is taking you. Then move where there is the natural feeling of, oh, this is where harmony is. This is where balance is. This is where peace is. And it might still be through difficult things, but it's no longer you running. And that's the practice, is to be in a state where we are internally still, even as we're living our life, ups and downs, right and lefts, all over the place. So bring your mind gently back to your breath. Bring your awareness gently back to this moment. And don't panic. Because this moment is exactly as it is, and the next one is already happening. Allow it. Don't panic. It's the only mantra we need sometimes. Don't panic. Now, if you'd like, hands come to heart center or leave them where they are. We'll close with the sound of Om, deep breath in. Sliding the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. Namaste. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day, great rest of your weekend until I see you again. Again, eyes open for the fun stuff coming up. Don't forget Mark's yin class tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Also coming up, there's Cookies and Stories with Neil. If you're interested in that, don't forget on Tuesday nights, there's the butterfly talks that Josh is leading. I think Eileen is the speaker this week, so I don't know what the topic is, but it'll be Eileen. And then Thursday nights, Kirtan in studio, so that we have plenty of things for you to do. Well, can't be bored.
Thanks,
But we will see you soon.